Hello everybody, I'm Tenzin Namjong, and we're going to do a supplementary question and answer session for the 15-day meditation challenge presented to you by Choe Khor Sum Ling, the FPMT Center in Bangalore, India. So by now, a few questions have come up, and we thought to address those questions before the end of the challenge so that everyone is sort of on the right track in terms of their meditation practice. Especially at the beginning, it's important not to get into bad habits through not understanding the instructions of the meditation. So hopefully we can clarify a few points here today. So one, perhaps the easiest question, came up about the posture. And so someone has a bit of a physical problem with sitting cross-legged or even on a chair. So they were wanting to explore other alternatives. So yes, in general, one can also meditate laying on one's back in the corpse pose, or Shavasana, which some of you know. It's totally fine. So it just happens to be that as we lie down, we tend to fall asleep quite easily. So the sitting posture is in general recommended. But remember, in the actual Satipatthana Sutra, the Sutra on Mindfulness taught by the Buddha, they talked about the walking meditation, standing meditation, sitting meditation, and meditation while lying down. So by all means, please do that if you have some physical kind of constraints, and then just follow the normal instructions. You can watch the rising and falling of the abdomen or the breath coming out of the nostrils as you would do if you were sitting down. So no problem with that. Okay, so the next type of questions, and there is a few in this general kind of area, we're talking about different meditation experiences that come up. So someone was talking about vibrations in the body. Other people, they had an experience where they wanted to cry. So what I wanted to say is this, that in general, the nature of the mind being clear means that any kind of experience can come up. So what we're trying to do with this type of meditation is to develop what we call this non-judgmental awareness. So although we are focusing on the breath, then when these other appearances come to the mind, then we sort of notice that they arise, but we don't engage with them. So normally what is sort of advised is normally there might just be some kind of small distraction that's coming up, and I liken that to, for example, hearing the noise of the crickets outside. Something very small, if you don't engage with it, then it doesn't necessarily detract from your meditation. So normally, if the other appearances are quite small in nature, then just stay focused on the breath. But there might be times when we get quite overwhelmed, be it with physical pain. We might have a pain in the knee, in the back, in the hips, so forth. We might have strong emotions come up, strong memories, and so forth. So here, if that other appearance starts to become very strong in the mind, we can shift our focus, our intentional focus, away from the breath to whatever is appearing in the mind. And here we, again, it's not that we're engaging in a matter of commenting or analyzing, but we might just know, okay, there's a pain. Okay, this is a thought. This is a memory. This is anger. So also traditionally in the four close placements of mindfulness practice, they talk about mindfulness of the body, right? Mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of the mind, and mindfulness of phenomena. So basically, all of the existent phenomena go into one of those four categories. So in general, anything can be the sort of basis for our meditation. So in this case, whatever is appearing to the mind, if it's becoming stronger, then you can just sort of watch it, notice that it's there, but again, not get into the commenting. So what I tried to emphasize in one of the sessions that I led is that for now, we're just trying to build up a meditation practice. And as we start to get more and more hours on the cushion, as it were, different experiences are going to come up. Some will be blissful, some will be very sad, and these range of experiences is only natural. So don't think that you're doing something wrong. Similarly, if there's many sort of distracting thoughts that are coming up, also don't think that somehow the meditation isn't working. What I like to say is, normally we have this kind of mental chatter going on in the background all the time, but we distract ourselves with other things that we might be doing, and we don't notice how actually unsubdued our minds are. Now when we begin to sit, these different thought patterns and so forth become more readily observable because we're now finally taking the time to watch our own minds. So first sort of learning that I think many of us go through as we start the meditation practice is just to notice what the sort of base state of our mind is right now. And I think that is extremely educational, just to watch the mind and see how, with no particular external stimuli, then these different thoughts can bubble up to the surface. So now our job in maintaining this non-judgmental awareness, where we notice something, whatever is appearing in the mind, but not reacting with clinging and attachment to those things that are pleasant, nor do we react with aversion to the unpleasant. We're building up an actually very powerful and useful skill that when we go into our sort of daily life, we meet with all sorts of experiences, and we might have some unpleasant experiences. And if we are able to sort of watch them and notice what's going on in our mind without reacting to it, then that can help us in our daily lives, where we then, even if we're triggered by a controversial or irritating event, we don't then react and sort of blow our top. Okay. So another question was on the number of meditation sessions to do, and they wanted to know the minimum number and the maximum number. So the minimum number, of course, no one is forcing you to meditate, okay? So really, I'm sure there's billions of people in the world that aren't meditating, okay? So the point is, when we look a little bit honestly about our lives, then we see that actually a fundamental driving force behind our experience of life is our mind, right? It's not so much with the external conditions, which are to a certain extent important, but actually it's more how our mind reacts to the experiences that we go through that determine our level of satisfaction and happiness. So this practice of meditation is starting to take the journey to sort of transform our mind, to take control of our mind, so that we can transform it into being more positive and more under our control, rather than, as many of you noticed, even trying to sit down and watch the breath for even 10 minutes is very difficult. And our mind seems to act on its own accord, and all these different thoughts bubble up to the surface without us having to sort of evoke them. Okay? So this practice is designed to sort of gradually introduce us into the practice of meditation, where we're only going to see results if we have consistent effort over a very long period of time. Okay? Only then is the real fundamental transformation possible. So now when we start to talk about maximum sessions per day, yes, we do, and I think most of you recognize that a practice of meditation will be helpful in helping to transform our lives. But since it is more like a marathon rather than a sprint, then we also have to pace ourselves in a way that we can sustain over a long period of time. So we kept these sessions relatively short, half an hour total, and the first few minutes is about getting into the posture and so forth. But I even suggest for beginners that one would take a level of commitment that one can do on a daily basis without interruption. So for some of you, that could be 5 minutes. Some of you could be 10 minutes. And there is a saying that at the beginning you should stop your meditation session while it's still going well. So it's better to have shorter sessions, and if you can do more than one a day, that's even better. But really, there is no sort of limit per se, but it just matters that you don't get fatigued and therefore get burned out. You understand? And if you're not doing your sort of formal meditation session on your cushion, even as you go through your daily life, and let's say you're at the office working or doing something else, then you can just take even a few minutes or 1 minute, an hour, and reconnect with your body, reconnect with your breath. And this sort of recalling mindfulness throughout the day is going to be a very successful tool. I was telling many of you who join my lectures that even this small thing that we do at the beginning of the session to sort of look at the muscles in the face and see if we're holding any tension, you can do that throughout the day. All right, so that's all the questions that we have thus far. So I hope that was helpful. And anyway, just keep up the good work, keep up the good effort with the practice, and we will continue for the next week or so. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.